Deion Sanders seems to confirm son Shedeur said no to Ravens, Eagles before signing with Browns. Deion Sanders seemed to confirm son Shedeur turned down Ravens and Eagles during 2025 NFL Draft before being selected by Cleveland Browns in 5th round. The former Colorado quarterback reportedly didn't want to sit for years behind established young stars like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Coach Prime defended his son's decision and predicted Shedeur will get his opportunity with the Browns this season. Deion Sanders confirmed that son Shedeur Sanders was called by at least 3 teams during the 2025 NFL Draft and suggested that the former Colorado quarterback turned 2 of them down before being selected by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round. Shedeur Sanders had been considered by many to be a potential first-round pick before plummeting to the Browns at number 144 overall, after Cleveland had already selected former Oregon quarterback Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round. Earlier this month, ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that the Baltimore Ravens had planned on drafting Sanders with the number 141 overall pick until he let them know that he didn't want to sit on a roster behind quarterback Lamar Jackson, who is a 2-time league MVP and only 28 years old. Last week, former NFL quarterback Cam Newton said on his podcast, for THN1, that he had heard that the Philadelphia Eagles had also wanted to draft Sanders at some point. Like the Ravens, however, Philadelphia also has a superstar quarterback who may not have even reached his prime in 27-year-old Jalen Hurts, who was named the MVP of Super Bowl 59 in February. Deion Sanders, an NFL legend who coached his son at Colorado, seemed to confirm all of that during an appearance on Jason and Travis Kelce's New Heights podcast, which was published Monday. Philly called us on draft day. They didn't mention that. I just let a cat out of the bag, Coach Prime told the Kelce brothers. Philly called. Who else was it? Baltimore and the Browns. I played for Baltimore, so me and Ravens Executive Vice President of Player Development, Ozzie Newsome, are cool, and he wanted to talk to Shedeur as well as he wanted to talk to me. I put Shedeur on the phone. And Shedeur, I don't want to say it went, but how in the world can somebody fault him for saying or thinking, why in the world would I go back up Lamar for 10 more years? Like, who comes in with that mindset? Sanders added, where do these guys come from that sit on these platforms and say, oh, you should have sat in behind and learned the game and been what they developed? When have the pros ever developed anybody? By the time you get to the NFL, they expect you to know what you need to do and to do it, or somebody else going to get in there and do it. The 2011 Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee summed it up this way, I've never sat on a bench and said, well, I learned a lot today. Who learns sitting on the bench? Sanders said he's been preaching patience and preparation to his 23-year-old son, who currently sits behind 40-year-old veteran Joe Flacco and 24-year-old Gabriel on the Browns' depth chart and has yet to see the field during the regular season. Be patient and be ready, Sanders said he's told Shedeur. They call your name and you ain't ready. We ain't built like that. Sanders, we ain't built like that. We always ready. We don't have to get ready. And I want you to be patient. You don't force nothing that it may not be time for. Sanders also said he has a feeling that patience will pay off for his son sooner rather than later. It's coming up, he said. I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's gonna go down. But it's gonna go down this year. He gonna get a shot. Chuck Shilkin is a sports reporter on the Fast Break team. He spent more than 18 years with the Los Angeles Times sports department in a variety of roles. Before joining the Times, he worked for more than a decade as a sports reporter and editor at newspapers in Virginia and Maryland. When Deion Sanders speaks, the sports world listens. Whether it was during his days as prime time on the field, electrifying both the NFL and MLB, or now as Coach Prime, reshaping the landscape of college football at Colorado, Deion has always had a voice that commands attention. Recently, his words sparked fresh waves across the NFL conversation when he seemed to confirm what many had speculated. His son, Shedeur Sanders, turned down potential opportunities with the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles before ultimately signing with the Cleveland Browns. It wasn't an outright point-blank declaration from Deion, but in the way only Deion can, he dropped enough hints, sprinkled in enough swagger, and shared just enough context to make fans believe that the rumors were true. And the implications of such a decision reveal plenty about Shedeur, his vision for his career, and how the Sanders family continues to rewrite the rules of football stardom. The tempting offers that never were. Imagine the gravity of the scenario. 2 of the NFL's most stable franchises, the Ravens and the Eagles, both perennial contenders, both boasting strong rosters, reportedly interested in Shedeur Sanders. For a young quarterback fresh out of college, the opportunity to walk into organizations with Super Bowl pedigrees and elite talent is the kind of golden ticket most players dream of. The Ravens would have paired Shedeur with Lamar Jackson, arguably one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the league. The Eagles? A powerhouse with Jalen Hurts at the helm, supported by a vicious defense and dynamic offensive talent. These were not just any offers. These were invitations to join two of the NFL's most respected locker rooms. Yet, according to Deion's carefully chosen words, Shedeur wasn't interested. Why say no to stability? This is where the story becomes fascinating. Turning down the Ravens or Eagles wasn't about disrespecting those organizations. It was about Shedeur's vision for himself. In both situations, the reality was clear. Shedeur would not have been the immediate QB1. With Jackson and Hurts locked into long-term deals, Shedeur would have been, at best, a high-profile backup waiting in the wings, or at worst, a developmental piece whose career could stagnate in the shadow of an established superstar. That's not the Sanders way. Shedeur has been raised in the mindset of creating his own lane, not merely following in another's footsteps. Backing up Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts might have been safe, but it wasn't bold. It wasn't legacy-defining. Instead, Shedeur and his camp looked elsewhere, toward a franchise where the opportunity to lead was not just possible but probable. Enter the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are not the Ravens. They are not the Eagles. They don't come with recent Super Bowl appearances or reputations for quarterback stability. In fact, Cleveland's history with quarterbacks is more infamous than it is inspiring. But what they do offer: opportunity. In choosing Cleveland, Shedeur chose a team where the quarterback room wasn't carved in stone. The Browns, in their ongoing struggle to find the franchise leader under center, represented a place where Shedeur could walk in and compete. Not sit, not wait, not carry a clipboard. And for a player with Shedeur's confidence, skills, and the backing of his father's mentorship, that opportunity was far more appealing than being the next guy up behind a superstar.